Welcome back. This is the third chapter of SQL Server training video series. In our last video, we installed SQL Server Developer Edition and discussed its functionality. The good news is it is completely free of cost. In that video, we installed SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studio, also called SSMS. That is the front end of SQL Server, where we type our queries to retrieve data. Please bear in mind that the actual SQL Server is not installed on the developers' machines, but on a central server. All the developers use SSMS, which is installed on their local machines for development. When a developer tries to connect to the SQL Server, they would need to enter the server name or IP address of the server and use an authentication method to log on to the SQL Server. It can be either Windows authentication. That means they don't need to enter any details in this window, as they already had provided their Windows login and password when they logged into their machines at startup. Alternatively, they can use SQL Server authentication and log in using a login and password. If we are using SQL Server installed on the local machine, there are 4 ways you can log on. So on here, either we can type the IP address. If you know the IP address of your machine, you can type it there. The second option is if you enter a dot and click connect. So we are connected. Then we can type localhost and then we can connect and it is connected. The fourth option is you type local in these brackets. Another thing I want to draw your attention towards is authentication. As you can see here, we are using Windows authentication because at the time of installation of SQL Server, we chose the option to use Windows authentication. So when I logged into this machine, I've given my login and password, which means I don't need to provide the login and password again. But if you have used SQL Server authentication, then you will be choosing this option and you will be providing the login and password. But we are using Windows authentication. So I was saying before, the fourth option is you can type local in bracket and you can click connect. After we are logged on, let's have a look at the Object Explorer window. On this screen, you can see the left side is Object Explorer window. So we connected to our SQL Server multiple times. If we want to disconnect, simply highlight that and click this button and it's disconnected, disconnected again, and this one is also disconnected. Let's connect one more time using let's say this option. With Windows authentication, connect. So this window is called Object Explorer. In this window, the first thing is the name of our server. Then this is the list of all the databases. Because we have not created any databases yet, that's why this area is not showing any databases. Other than that, the next thing is security. You can see the login and server roles and things like that. Then there is management. You can do policy management, resource and things like that. Then another important thing is SQL Server Agent. All the automated jobs will go under SQL Server Agent. There are 3 important icons you need to be aware of. New query button, this one, then execute button, and the third one is drop down for database names. It is important to choose the correct database, otherwise the query will not display the desired results. When we will create our databases, they will appear here in the Object Explorer under the databases, as we have not created any databases yet. That's why it's not showing any databases. But from this drop down, you can see there are 4 options: master, model, MSDB and TempDB. These are called system databases. We will talk about system databases in upcoming chapters. On the right side of the Object Explorer window, there is a blank area where you write queries. This is called the Query Editor window. We open a new window by clicking the New Query button, which we just did. We can start typing our first query, but it won't work as we have not created any databases yet. But we can write, this is our first query. So this is how we type our query. To execute this, either we press F5 on our keyboard or simply click this execute button. At the bottom of the screen, it will display the output of our query. However, it is not displaying any data yet as we have not typed the correct SQL syntax. Thanks for watching this video. That's all for now. In the next video, we will cover how to set up SQL Server Management Studio environment according to your preferences. See you in the next video.